This is Counterpoint, and I'm your host, Tanya Granic Allen. Canada is at a pivotal moment in its legislative landscape as two bills currently before Parliament, Bill C-2 and C-4, are raising profound questions about privacy, civil liberties, and the limits of government. Bill C-2, the Strong Borders Act, seeks to expand the federal government's powers over immigration and border security, including enhanced surveillance, data collection, and information sharing across agencies. Now, while supporters argue these measures are necessary to protect Canadians and streamline the immigration system, sounds like a good thing, privacy advocates warn that the bill could weaken constitutional protections, allowing broad, warrantless access to sensitive personal information and eroding safeguards under Section 8 of the Charter. At the same time, Bill C-4, called the Making Life More Affordable for Canadians Act, how lovely, introduces sweeping changes to the handling of political data by federal parties, exempting them from provincial privacy laws. Experts caution that this could significantly weaken Canadians' control over how their personal and political information is collected, stored, and used, creating a patchwork of rights depending on jurisdiction. Critics argue this risks undermining democratic accountability, allowing political parties to leverage data in ways that may be opaque and unregulated, while supporters frame it as a harmonization of rules under federal scrutiny. Well, to help us unpack the legal, constitutional, and privacy implications of these two high profile bills, we are joined today by Ryan Alford, a constitutional law scholar, senior fellow at the Macdonald Laurier Institute, and professor at Lakehead University. Thank you so much for joining me, Ryan. I appreciate your time today.
Oh, my pleasure as always.
So is it just me? Is the sky falling? Like, why are we, I feel like I could write the letter C and add a bunch of numbers, and every single one of those bills will have an issue with privacy or some concern that we should be concerned about our privacy. What's going on?
I would also note the kind of Orwellian nature of the titles. That what we're told is that these are bills that will make life more affordable or make border security more manageable, and they really have a lot to do with data. Why do we always find in these omnibus bills something which is really troubling with respect to the way people's private information is being treated? What it tends to speak to is a real drive by the current government to really get access to this material and to remove all of the safeguards that previously existed. So I guess the question is, when people like civil liberties advocates push back and say, could you please just parse this out? It's okay for you to be addressing border security or affordability without doing these things. Why is there always so much resistance to saying, okay, well, this should be dealt with in a bill that really addresses this squarely, so that we can
Right.
get all of the privacy advocates, of which there are very many, giving their information and their testimony as to why this is so problematic.
Well, because again, like C-4, Making Life More Affordable for Canadians Act, okay, great, sure, let's do it. Sorry, what's that part about political data procured by parties? Sorry, why is that in there? It's just so bizarre, right? Okay, well, let's start
And
with
it
the base.
always seems to be about the removal of the safeguards, right? That's what's really
Yes,
problematic.
yes,
But I'm sure
yes.
we'll tease out that theme.
We'll tease it out. Okay, let's start with Bill 2. So what exactly is buried in there and Bill C-2, and why should Canadians be concerned?
I mean, particularly problematic is this notion that what previously would have been obtained pursuant to warrants is now being obtained basically on the say-so of administrative actors. We have a long tradition, and it's a critical part of our constitutional practice, that we have judges involved whenever there's information which is covered by privacy that people want to seek, especially when there's a possibility that it could bring about some form of liability. So here, the express reason for looking at that data is we think people are involved in illicit activity. Right. So they're going to be trawling through people's material at the border.
Mm.
Lawyers have raised issues with respect to attorney-client materials, all of that. And none of this is subject to the most fundamental requirement for searches, that there be some judicial involvement that says there's a reasonable basis for you to think that you might find these things, rather than just saying this is a loophole that allows us to collect all of this without any judicial intervention whatsoever.
And aren't we as Canadians sort of up in arms? Because didn't the United States just sort of pass something similar where they may ask to see your cell phone and look at your social media when you try to get into the United States if you're, say, driving over the border? And we were concerned about that.
We found it very problematic because it seems quite Orwellian. The notion is we'll trawl through and see if we find anything problematic, rather than saying we're looking for one thing in particular. We have a reason to look for it, and a judge would agree with us that we have a reason to be looking for it. We're behaving just like the Americans and invoking the exact same kind of rationale, which is, well, there's bad people out there. Why should our laws be tailored around what bad people are doing without any respect to the privacy concerns of everyone else?
Exactly. What's that saying? Bad or hard cases make bad law. I haven't forgotten that.
Hard cases make bad law.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll be right back in just a moment.